Good morning. I am still camping and I'm still here in my RV. I tried to set up a little better lighting this time to show you some progress. Let's see if I can move this to where you can kind of see what I've done. And I haven't had a lot of time because I'm on a camping trip and we're going places, but I've smoothed out this head and I've used my uh, caliper measuring tool. I've started to mark up. As you can see, can you see the cross lines across the raccoon? I've started to mark up the face, and then I've just started to smooth the clay. So my measurements are holding up, as you can see. And the reason you want to get everything smooth and even is because you're going to now start to put in the detail. And I don't know if you can see, but I've just begun to work on the nose. Now, the whole time I'm working on the nose, I am referring to my pattern, my guide, and I'm taking measurements the whole time of the width. And the reason for that, the width of the nose, there you go. With this tool here. The reason for that is I keep matching it there, coming back here and going, okay, yeah, I'm still within the dimension. I'm in the dimension. You want to try to match the dimension. And the value to that is when I get home, because I've measured, I'm measuring the ears, I'm measuring the ears are matching the pattern. I'm measuring the distances. When I get home, I'll be able to take this head and put it right on the body that I've started. The proportions will be correct. So anyway, I'm going to work a little more if I can on this today, but smoothing the clay, you want to use your hands as much as possible to just smooth the clay. And this is a very hard clay. It's a very hard styling clay from Siobhan. It's non-toxic, but kids would not be happy with this because it's so darn hard. But when you realize that, for example, a lot of professional bronze sculptors use wax and it has to be heated the whole time you're working with it. This is much more forgiving than wax. And so it allows you to, the clay will warm up in your hands and then you can just smooth it and check it from different angles. This is what I do. You can even go and check it in the mirror, like hold it in a mirror. You won't believe um, all the problems that can come up in a mirror. So after I got this smoothed, one of the first things I saw looking at this view, because these views are all taken as if from the same distance from the animal. So you have the sides, you have the front, you have a 3/4 view. By the way, this is free. Anyone who has not already downloaded this to follow along. And when I'm back in the studio this coming week, I'll be able to advance this much further and you can still follow along. But one of the big jobs is try to smooth your forms and make them match your diagram. So now I realize by doing this measurement, and I'll show you what I mean right here, the eye, the center of the eye, I like to say to the tip of the nose, I realize I'm going to have to bring this bulk of area up much closer. So what I have done, because I'm on a camping trip, I brought this, it's a for your, aching back, a heating pad. And this is a really convenient, if you're working in the hard styling clay, which, will allow you to work as long as you want. I'm going to take some warmed up clay now. Let's see how pliable it is once it's warmed up and just start to fill in the area I'm seeing is not correct. So what I have to do is bring this whole forehead area up. There you go. You could see a lot closer. And in order to be correct to the proportion, I've got the ears, I've got the width of the nose, getting on the muzzle. But what I don't have correct yet is the distance of the that this forehead area makes. And then the eyes appear much closer on the to the nose than what it would have been if I had just tried to eye it up. And that shows you the value of um, really making sure you check your measurements. So I've added some bulk there and it's looking kind of clunky. There you can see it there. And I'll smooth that in and I'll get some more softened clay. It's very nice and soft and warm. Feels good on my hands because it's cold in the motorhome. And just get that on there. I'm smoothing it on. And when I go to back to my studio, I'll say hello far away and then I'll do some close up so you can really see what I'm doing here. Um, the proportions are a killer. They really either get it right, and even if your detail is a little off, if your proportions are right, it's amazing how much better the end result can be. I mean, you want to get everything that you can right. I'm trying to have a very realistic end result. And let me show you some tools that might be helpful to you too. Here's a little pad tool. I think this was actually a homemade tool that Chuck made. He used to have a little grinder, and he used to take dental tools and grind them into different shapes. Um, and then there's the rifflers, which I absolutely love. These are, there they are. Riffler, let me show it one at a time. Here's a small one. And this gives you little cross cuts in the tool, which allow you to do fine trimming and smoothing. And then this is a bigger one, which gives bigger cross cuts. But what it does is it gives you kind of a you can do a crosshatch effect and get that clay smoothed in there. And when I'm back in the studio, I will do close-ups of what get into things like the nose, and you have these very fine shapes. The the stick tool, like this is for, I think, a manicure, but you can actually buy from I think this is a Kemper tool. Um, Stick tools can be very, there it is, I'm gonna hold it real still, very good for that final detail and just rounding shapes that are very small and delicate. So it's hard to see it from here because I'm in my RV, and, when I get home, of course, I'll show you the progress, but I'll work on it close up so you can really see what I'm doing, and I keep measuring, of course. So if I have this, um, distance that I'm trying to do from the nose oops, from the nose to tip to the center of the eye, and it's hard to do it from here, but I think you know there we go, like that. And then if I put it back here and it doesn't fall correctly and it doesn't work with the profile, then I know I need to build up this area right in here, right up all this has to be built up. And so then what you also want to do is get back to your front view, and make sure that those distances still match up after you've filled that in. And so you go back and forth a little bit. It's a little bit of a, uh, push and pull, add and subtract. But the wonderful thing about this kind of clay is, and I just got some more clay and I'm still adding to that, is it allows you to make mistakes and learn. And I think because you're not like, oh, I can't change it. You can change it on this kind of clay. And when you can change it, see, water-based clay, for example, gets great effects, but there's a point at which you really can't change it easily. This you can change and change and change. And because it's so hard, it doesn't require armature. At least this kind of piece doesn't. Now, when I put it back on, I'm going to have the hole drilled in the bottom, hole drilled in the other part of the sculpture, and I'm going to make it so I can take it on and off. And until I get it right and have the head posed the way I want to have it, I'll have that flexibility. Now, if I were to have heavy armature all through the body into the head and, a whole ball of material in there, I would not have that flexibility. So having done professional sculpture for the gift industry for over 30 years, that you turn something in, they go, "We want the arm in a different position." You go, "Okay." But because it was this kind of modeling clay, and that's what modeling clay is for, you have the flexibility that you can, uh, really say, "Okay, I'm gonna have to take that off and make it longer or shorter or this whatever it is they want." And, because we worked for hire for so many years, there was a lot of demand for change, and that's okay. You learn to roll with that, and you learn to use materials that allow you to do that. So this is Chavant Clayette. Chavant, Chavant, has a lot of styling clays. They began by serving the car industry. The automobile industry used to make a full-size clay model of a car, and I don't know if they still do that, but, with, digital, modeling, but that's what they used to do. They made the whole car design out of clay, and Chavant was one of the leading suppliers, so I'm building that up, and I'm going to try to match, let's say I'm going to match, not try, like Yoda says, try or do not try. And when I match up that side face with my calipers, keep measuring, there we go. Um, then I know I can start the eye area. And all those measurements when I go side to front will help me determine exactly where that goes. Now, when this face starts to take shape and look good, front will help me determine exactly where that goes. Now, when this face starts to take shape and look good, um, then, we'll work more on the body. Of course, we're going to make the body look just as stylistically matched with in terms of the realistic look. And I think, though, that the face being somewhat done will give you inspiration to work on the body because sometimes you not kind of need to see it come to life and go, "Oh, yeah, I wanna do that. That's great," because it gives you the inspiration to finish the project. A lot of times you start and you get discouraged because it's hard. Well, it's worth doing because it turns out that it is hard, but by doing, the practice, nothing gets done without a lot of practice, and you will find that practice is absolutely incredible in terms of your advancement in this. This idea of natural born talent. When I started, I thought, I can draw. I always felt I could draw. I always liked to draw, but I had never sculpted. And I married a sculptor, and he said, "Yeah, you can. You can. You got to do this. You got to do that." And I fought it. I really did. And eventually, out of practice, I realized, oh, yeah, I can do this because there's some rules I can follow to get started, and that's what I'm trying to give you all out there, so, and we'll keep going, we're not just gonna do a raccoon, so, I hope this was, informative today, and, I will see you back in my studio, when I get home on Wednesday morning. So see you at 8 a.m. Bye-bye.